Hello and welcome to Timeless Conversations. Well, today what we're going to say will end up being very, very timeless because we can repeat it from time to time. I guess it's something that had started with creation itself or with the evolution of mankind itself. I have a guest with me. He's someone who, once he comes on now, you see why he has the uh, title Sage. But real name, Samuel Hassan. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to be here.
Your profile says you are a teacher.
Yeah,
And I said, I love teachers a lot.
right.
Without teachers, we don't be here.
I agree.
Right. So, why do you call yourself a teacher, or why are you called a teacher? Are you a real teacher? Did you go to
So,
learn teaching?
yeah, so I teach quite often. When I was young,
Hmm.
my best game was to pretend to teach.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'll be in a classroom or gather a few younger kids, and then I'll pretend to be teaching them.
Hmm.
But I realized back then that I didn't have the information to teach. I didn't have material to teach.
Hmm.
So I just pretended. But it bothered me even at the age of 7 or 8 that what I was teaching was not accurate.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
But then the funny thing about it is, I also didn't like school. I never really liked school. I felt it was a bit too constraining, too constricting. I have to wear a uniform. I have to sit in one spot. You have to speak for 40 minutes as a break. I felt constrained by it. So it was a conflict for me. What kind of teacher are you going to be since you don't like school? And I grew up and I realized that teaching was a concept that was bigger than school. It was much bigger than school. Teaching was about life itself. So I have taught in very, very different many capacities, and I realized that you don't have to teach mathematics or English or chemistry
To
or
be a
science.
teacher.
Exactly.
So what have you been teaching?
So I've been teaching life.
You've been teaching life.
Yes, you just spoke about life coach earlier on.
Yes.
The issue about the life coach, and this is my story for that. One day I was at the field. I like to exercise quite a bit. I was on the field and I was watching a team of footballers play. Now I don't like football, but I was watching two teams of footballers play.
We're kindred spirit, by the way.
See, I just don't understand it. So there are two teams playing, and I was watching, and there was something wrong. I don't like football, but I saw that there was something wrong with how they were playing. And I was watching, and because I was running around the field, and at some point it hit me. These teams do not have coaches. And I understood that the difference between a good team and a bad team, a good player and a bad player, is the coach. That's when I understood what it meant to be a life coach. And I understood that the life coach, his primary goal is to teach. Teach you, not teach you how to play the game, but teach you how to be better at playing the game. Because it's possible that as a teacher or as a coach, I am not better at the game than you. But I can see what you are lacking.
Yeah.
I can see how you can be better. Because the whole essence of a teacher is to look at your subject, to look at your ward, and to love them enough to want them to be better.
But let's talk something.
Yes.
Your background.
My background, yes.
What's it?
You mean educational background?
Yes, let's talk education and then we'll go into family
So
background.
I didn't like school.
I know.
So I studied mostly at home.
You did?
Yeah. My father didn't finish secondary school. So he ended up living with some white guy, retired military guy, a British guy in Minna. And the man said, "You're really smart." So the man made him do, I don't know what they call it.
That's
Cambridge GC.
Cambridge then.
And my father had to do it from home. So I think my father learned the benefit of home study. Homeschooling.
Yeah.
So I went to school, but I never paid attention in school. Everything I learned from home.
From home.
And I ended up learning a lot more than was taught in school. Because my father was quite a disciplinarian, so you had to learn it.
Yes.
So I just go to school and I'm playing, But in university, I practically just didn't go to any classes. Practically just sat somewhere, did some stuff that we're doing, and didn't finish. So that's my educational background. But when I was done, because I'd learned to study at home, I began to study by myself. And I gave myself a target of reading 100 books a year in my early 20s. Yes. So I'll read psychology, I'll read philosophy, I'll read motivation, I'll read science, whatever it is. The goal is you must read 2 books a week. The goal was 2 books a week, but there was 56 weeks. But I never read 100. This was the target. Read 100, but I always stopped at 94 or 96.
Why?
I don't know. I just never made 100. So my younger brother, who was following my footsteps, ended up doing 110. He spent more time at home than me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But how are you able to hold your own without what would be called conventional education?
So I did go to the school, but
No,
I
I know.
didn't really pay attention. So as far as I'm concerned, I didn't really do it. So you see, I'm from the north. This
Yeah.
is going to sound really bad. I think we have a different system of education, or different system of social cultural education. And we learn through the language that we speak. I grew up in Minna and in Jos, Kaduna. I grew up in the north. So I think we learn. Our system is a bit different from the Western here, the Western system here, where everybody must have a master's degree and a PhD. It's really pertinent for you guys here to have a master's degree and a PhD. And for me over there, what was really important is you must know. So I chose an informal structure of education.
Yes.
I needed to just know. I wanted to understand philosophy. I wanted to understand psychology. I wanted to see what was quantum physics. I just wanted to know this thing.
Yeah, quantum physics.
Yes, I thoroughly was interested in quantum physics, but that came much later, because when we were growing up, physics was not that.
There
was no quantum physics.
Yes.
There was physics, but when I grew up, I began to see quantum physics in my 20s, and my interest kind of shifted. So the whole goal is, what are you going to understand? You need to understand life. I needed to understand, astronomy, astrology, not so well. Just understand how the whole world affects you, which is what quantum physics was for me.
But I said let's go into your background, because you already started speaking like a life coach. Just before we came on, I said to you that I wanted to ask you
about the life coach.
About this life coach business.
Yes.
Who is a life coach? Who needs a life coach?
Right.
What does a life coach do?
Right.
Then I'll add the clincher. What does a life coach know?
So the life coach might not know too much.
Yeah.
But the life coach might not even do too much. So I think I got my idea of coaching from, I don't know if it's Socrates or Pluto, who was a teacher. But besides gathering knowledge and putting knowledge together in books and teaching knowledge, there was a way that Pluto or Socrates, I'm not sure which one of them, because one was a student of the other, but one of them was coaching his students. This is what he did. The job of a life coach, I see it in their action. Anytime a student asks him a question, he answers back with a question. So his job is not to teach you. So that's the difference between a life coach and a teacher. His job is not to teach you. His job is to make you think.
Reason it out.
Make you fun. Because the belief is that all knowledge is resident in all of us.
That's powerful.
Yeah. So the job of a life coach, if you were going to be a writer, my job as your coach is not to teach you to write. It's to help you discover the tools that will help you bring out your writing skills. That, to me, is the primary job of a life coach. And because we're saying life coach, we're trying to help people navigate through life. Whether you're going to be, you're going to be a businessman, it's just to help you navigate through life. Give you the tools that make it a little bit easier. Help you, develop, the tools of having vision, purpose, discipline, those tools that will just help you be better at what you are. I'm not teaching you how to be a business person. That's different. I'm only teaching you how to be better by being you. That's basically.
So it sounds like the life coach is a mirror to the student.
Yes, you can be a mirror. So there's a difference. The one that's a mirror is a mentor. So I look at you and I want to be like you. The life coach is the guy behind posting like this. But the mentor does the same thing. But, the mentor doesn't have to be with you all the time. But the life coach is someone that, they're basically almost the same.
So, but as a life coach,
Yes.
how do you measure your performance as a life coach?
Great. So, I measure my performance from feedback. Now I coach quite a number of people individually, and by the way, I don't take money. So I just do it.
You don't take money.
I don't take money. Yeah.
That's-
So I coach quite a few people. Maybe, I'm not saying there's 1,000, maybe 20, 30 over the years, and I coach them on different aspects. Some might be some emotional trauma, and then some might be professional advice.
Yeah.
Some might be writers like me. Some might be coaches like me. So I measure my success based on how much improvement I see in you. If you're going through emotional stress, and I see that the tools that I provide, or the tools that I help you find, help you discover, you are utilizing them, I know that I am making headway.
Okay.
But it is not my responsibility that you succeed. It's my responsibility to show you and give you the tools. I think you can do it like this. You can do it like this. It's your job to make it work.
So, why don't you get paid for being a life coach?
Because I grew up in Jos. Grew up in Jos. We never thought, when we were growing up, you're supposed to be paid for anything. We never thought.
I didn't grow up in Jos, and then I didn't think you could be paid for most things.
Growing up, when I came to Lagos, I was shocked to realize that people were going to pay you for stuff. Yeah, you're going to pay me to do this? Really?
Yeah,
I thought that the only way to be paid was to get a job in an office and do something there. I didn't know that I could give you advice, and I never ever imagined that was possible. So it's hard for you to come to me and say, I have this problem, and then I'm supposed to give you advice, give you suggestions. It doesn't matter how long I'm supposed to do it, and then say, give me money. I can't do it.
No.
I haven't been able to do it. But I take money if I was going to come to an office to speak, if I was going to go to a church to speak.
Okay.
It's church not all the time, but I'll take it. I'll take money if I was going to come to a group of people are gathering, come and give us a talk. I will take money.
Okay.
Because that's how I make a living, from performing poetry and giving talks.
Oh no, well, you just jumped the gun, because I was going to go to
I'm in a hurry.
poetry. I was going to go to poetry later to
Right.
find out, okay, how did that start? But let's still talk a little bit more
Right.
about life coaching.
Right.
What I've discovered is that most times now, well, in these days, you found a lot of people who say they are life coaches and all that. And please pardon me, I sometimes feel that even those coaches need some coaches
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah,
So,
coaches need coaching.
you understand? So that what's going on? It's like a fad now.
Yes.
Everybody says,
Yes.
well, most people say, oh, I'm a life coach, I'm a
Yes.
life coach, so and so.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why I don't refer to myself as a life coach now. So if you see life coach in my bio, it's something that must have been done a while back.
Okay.
So,
So
but
what do you call yourself now?
I just say I'm a teacher.
You're a
But
teacher.
the question is, they always ask me, what do you teach? And it's harder. So I say, I'm teaching life. Which life are you teaching? Which life do you know? So it's harder. So sometimes I say, I'm teaching wisdom. They say, which wisdom do you know? So it's such a difficult place for me to explain what I'm teaching. So I just leave it quiet like that.
So it's like there's that tincture to life coach
Yes.
that you don't like.
Yes, because like you say, it's a fad. Everybody has jumped on it. And this is how the world works. People look for what will work. People look for what will succeed. People look for the easiest way to make it. But I think that life coaching, I think, is an important and a vital aspect of modern living. I think is really, really necessary. I think the Western cultures, foreigners understand it, which is why you're not expected to know more than anybody, but you're expected to know the thing you're talking about, study it, have a system of presenting it. The whole idea is spend 100 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours, 1,000 hours, honing your skill on the part that you want to present. Practice it one-on-one until you have developed a system. That even if somebody is an MD of a company, the people that I know MDs, they have life coaches.
Yes.
Just have, it's not that you know how to do it better than me, but there's a way that you have that might make it a bit easier for me to execute my own purpose.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important, vital, necessary profession. But I also think, like you said, that life coaches need a bit more coaching. So all of us need to go to older coaches, more experienced coaches, those who have been there 40 years, 50 years, and learn. And then we also need to come together in seminars, in conferences, and then share and sharpen each other's knowledges. So yeah.
Okay. So you're with us on Timeless Conversations. My guest is Sammy Sage Hassan. We'll take a short break now. Don't go away. So Sammy.
Yes, sir.
Your stage name is Sage.
Sage Hassan, yeah.
And Hassan is the family. But the full name, your regular name is what?
So, I'm very confused about my identity. My name is very funny because, I was born Muslim, so my name is Sani Hassan.
Yeah.
And then, I got a baptism name, Samuel Hassan.
Yeah.
Then I have an artistic name, Sage Hassan.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't know which, am I Samuel Hassan, Sani Hassan, or Sage Hassan? Is a bit confusing for me too.
Your birth certificate would call you what?
My birth certificate,
Yeah.
Sani Hassan.
Okay, so you're Sani Hassan. Yeah.
But my declaration of age
Yes.
is Samuel Sani Hassan.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, well, that one comes before the other.
Yes.
So I think in law they say there's precedence.
So
the precedence.
So I'm Sani Hassan.
You're Sani Hassan, yes. Now, you love the spoken word.
Yeah.
You perform it.
Yeah.
How did that evolve?
So I think it started from the storytelling and from the teaching, because Horace, an ancient poet, said the task of a poet is to instruct and to entertain. So I think, but my own started with the instructing. Like I said, when I was younger, I'll be talking. But before then, around that time, what I liked to do was tell stories. So it started with telling stories. But I have my cousins that will sit. Besides the teaching one, this one's my cousins, I will tell stories. So they would call me and say, tell us a story. And I would say, what story? They say, tell us a film. But we live in the same house. We'll watch the same film, all of us. So I'll start a film. They'll say, no, not that one. Tell us another one. I'll start saying, no, not that one. I say, but I don't know another one. Say, tell us another one. Then I started to formulate stories by myself. At the age of 7, I think, 7 or 8. I started to formulate stories. And then, but I kept on talking, kept on being a talkative. And I used to get punished during prep. Then at the age of 13, I went to go borrow a novel, and I saw somebody writing some stuff. What are you doing? And he says he's writing a book. So I came back, and instead of telling my stories, I started writing my stories.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, yes, I started writing my stories. And then I started thinking, do I only just want to write stories? So I was also starting to write lyrics because I liked music. And for spoken word, I was watching, they used to show Reggae Sunsplash in Jos a lot.
Yeah.
And there's this particular guy, I used to like to watch all of them. There's this particular guy who got on the stage, and he was a poet. They called them dub poets.
Yes.
His name is Mutabaruka.
Mutabaruka, yes.
So he got on the stage and it's no good to live in a white man country too long. It was just chanting, and I was wondering what that was. So I started writing the same thing at 14 or before 14, And I kept on doing it in the same Jamaican way. And I also write poetry and publish in a newspaper. So I started working in the newspaper at the age of 16 in Jos, Nigeria Standard. So I published poetry, published short stories, entertainment stories. So I started doing that, But for this spoken word, gone. I don't think I've said this story in this way. My former boss, Dele Mamadou.
Okay.
When I write stories, Innovation Magazine, he used to read them out. So it was the seed, in a way, it was the seed of it.
He used to read them out.
Yes, he says, this guy is a poet, he's writing poetry. Because, Innovation Magazine at that time was doing a lot of weddings.
Yes, that's true.
And I got bored reporting weddings. So I had to create poetry and around the weddings. I felt every day it's the same thing. I would attend 4 weddings in 1 month, writing the same thing. So I started writing poetry, poetic prose out of the wedding information, and daily would read them. I think that's the seed of it. But before then, that was the seed of jumping out in this way. But I was also doing this reggae part, doing the other one where I go, rage. Why do I rage? I ask myself, because I was told a lie that I could not fly, so I lived my life by the lie. I was doing those things. But the way Daily was doing it made me think that maybe there was something more here. And then I started to, we used to also have, what's called GAP, Guild of Artists and Poets. We started in Abuja. I was working for Daily Momodu in Lagos, but I was in Abuja and Lagos. So we had that Guild of Artists and Poets, so we would come together and then we recite our poems, And then because I had the musical background, musical inclination of Muta Baruka, I began to make my own little musical. And then Hip Hop Wall Awards was going to happen.
Yes.
And I presented, there was a poem I'd done about music. That poem had been on Rhythm FM Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
And there was a response. And every time I performed that poem among my guild of artists, poets, guys in Lagos, there was a reaction I saw. So I made it better, and I took it to Ayo, and he put me on that show. And it was...
Yes, Ayo Animation.
Yes, Ayo Animation. The response was like incredible. I still have one of the videos is still there.
Please. You need to send that to me.
Yes, I will.
That's like the response I can imagine would be like, where have you been?
Yes. It was like, first of all, everybody was just looking quiet, and then there was an uproar of applause, and it was wild.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the poem with the names of artists, the Nigerian ones. I was just going and going, and it was like, whoa, what's going on? So, yeah. So I credit Ayo in particular. I credit Ayo, I credit the Hip Hop Wall Awards for launching the spoken word poetry movement in Nigeria, because I was the first to start. And if he hadn't put me on that platform, it might have taken a while longer.
A while longer. But in the spoken word performance, what do you need? How do you prepare?
Very interesting one. Yeah. So, because spoken word is from your soul. So if I'm going to perform a poem, you can tell how connected I am to the audience by how I had prepared. So if I'm not that well prepared, there'd be a loss of connection, How do I prepare?
There will be a lot of try again later.
Yes. So I go into myself. I do a bit of visualization, I must say. So I see myself, I'm closing my eyes already. So I see myself, reciting that poem, delivering it. I go through, in the past, we used to rehearse quite a bit. I will have practice, and I come on that stage. And then I don't perform, I perform from my spirit. I try, because it's harder. I used to do all the major concerts. I've done the big comedy shows, this day music festival. I've done major events, and it's harder to just stand on a stage and belt out poetry when there's somebody playing music, So I have to go into my spirit and stand and then, project myself into the audience.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. But before then, it has to happen backstage or a week before or a day before, where I center myself.
Now, that seems to be quite some work.
It is very difficult. It looks easy, but it's difficult.
How can you teach that to somebody?
So I can coach you. So I can coach the poet, but I can't teach him. I can tell him this. So if I'm going to give talks to poets, I tell them my experience. Because I'm feeling that in the experience, the magic is in the telling. The magic is intangible. So it's an element that some things cannot be taught, they have to be caught. So I want them to catch it. And I've seen some who have caught it much, much better than I've done it. I've seen some poets who just get on there and they just deliver magic, and it's like, whoa, where did you come from?
Yeah. Now, there's also always this issue of once somebody starts something, others jump on it.
Yeah.
And when people report it, it sounds like they are protesting.
Right.
Should there be that protest?
That why people jump on it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in my case, when I started spoken word, I wanted people to jump on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave myself a name that was, a precursor or a predeterminer, a prophetic for people to join. I said the sage has sons. The whole goal is this thing has to grow, has to increase. So I think it's important. Success to me is marked by followership.
There's even a rhyme to everything you say.
Success is
Yes,
success is followerships. I want for 1,000 people to follow. I want to see someone do better.
Yeah.
Because every generation we can't. Because I caught it from someone else. If he didn't want me to follow him, then where will I be? So yeah.
And now with the field that's further opening up wider and wider, and there's technology that's helping to project stuff, right? How do you protect your copyright?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Why?
So I have a very funny philosophy. I think that art belongs to the society. Anybody should take it. I think it is stupid. This is part of me that is stupid, but that's how I see it. When I throw a poem out there, I feel it belongs to the world. Take it. Now, I've said this, I'm also going to say that there's one particular young poet who took my line and claimed it. I didn't like that. So it's funny, as much as I want for take it out there, I don't want you to steal it. I want you to use it, utilize it, take advantage of it.
Acknowledge it.
Yeah, don't pay me even.
No, acknowledge it.
But don't steal it.
Yeah, but if you don't claim it, you didn't claim it. Somebody else will claim it.
So,
yeah, you did not
by
patent it. You did not copyright
how do you patent this thing, this art? So the way I patent it, the way I will claim it is I will have my byline, by Sage. So what I expect is if you take it, write by Sage. Don't take it and remove by Sage and put by...
there's this thing about language, yeah?
Yes.
You use the word stupid.
Yes.
When you were describing it. No offense meant. Right. You could say that to yourself. If I said it to you, you would consider it rude.
I think that is,
You understand me?
I am not going to
Again, you're the only one who can say that to yourself. Because if I say it, it will be rude. You will not like it. I'll be confirming what you are presenting.
I know.
And I don't want to confirm it.
But
I'm fighting it. I'm saying, please, when you get off this,
so I'm going to be wiser.
You have to be wiser. You cannot continue to do that.
But funny thing is, when I'm going to perform poetry, I have a very strict amount that I charge. I do free and I do also charge money for my work, but I do a lot of free as well.
Yeah, I'm not against the free thing.
Yeah.
What I am trying to open your mind to is, please, right, copyright your work. Right. We'll take a break here and then continue later. I'm still with Sage, who is not showing much sageness in the area of copyright.
I love it. So good.
Welcome back. Yes, Sage is still here, and hit him below the belt a little bit before the break, or as we were taking that break, because I still don't understand how he would not copyright his work. You have to.
Right.
It's not just for your own sake.
Right.
You have children?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Or no?
No. But not yet.
Not yet.
It's no, not yet.
No for now.
Yes.
Possibly later.
Hopefully. I really hope to have kids
beautiful.
in this decade.
Very good. So now those children, your offspring, can live off your copyright income. So please.
You need to,
for their sake.
Need to copyright material.
Copyright. And then even for the simple feel-good factor.
Right.
Where somebody uses your work and acknowledges
very important.
It.
That hurts me when that doesn't happen.
Yes, and and people, it's not everybody who has your kind of ethics or ethos or ideals.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right.
So sometimes you need to force them.
That's right.
To acknowledge.
I agree.
What they know.
I agree.
Right. I wouldn't quote you without referencing you.
Yes.
That's the
Well,
right
this
thing.
last generation of people, they don't care. They just take whatever they're taking. So there's this particular life coach that I really liked. You know, I didn't know who he was. He's Indian, British. And then I think someone called me one time and said, oh, there's this guy that sounds like you. It was really nice. I said, what's his name? He told me his name. And I went online, Googled him, and I found him. And I saw that he had over 1 billion views. I said, wow, this is incredible. And you think he sounds like me? And it was so, I was...
Over 1 billion.
Over 1 billion, I think 3 billion.
What?
Yeah, it has like 3 billion views. He has a lovely story, you know, and he was just kept on going. And last year or the year before, a number of YouTubers began to pick on him, and they realized that everything he said were little bits and pieces that he took from 100 different people without giving them the credit,
Yes.
claiming that these thoughts were his. You know, so it's a number like 4 or 5 YouTubers just actually picked it and kept on saying they will show the original and show what he said. And he said that the point was when he was taken, he didn't learn, he just stole a whole, you know. So this last generation doesn't care. They just do what they want. You know, so I think he reminded me of that kind of level. I mean, he reminded me of the Gen Z millennial attitude of not, you know, having honor in instances like this. I just want people to be honorable. You know, take what you can, use it, you know, and just show some honor. But like you said, you know, it's stupid for me to expect honor.
No, I didn't say it is stupid.
Yes,
You said so.
Yes, I know.
No.
You know,
You said
I should
so.
stop expecting honor.
You
So
see-
this one I believe about wisdom. You know, one of the things I'm going to say why my name is Sage is because, you know, there was a lot of foolishness in my life growing up, and I didn't want it. So I think that no matter what, there's still some residue. But I think there's a lot of me that is not that stupid, that is pretty intelligent and pretty wise and pretty given. I think there's quite a lot of that, but there's still some residue that hasn't finished, you know, going away.
I really don't think it's stupid. I think it's just you not being bothered.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not stupid.
Yeah.
That's why I refuse to use.
So
the
I
word.
just say maybe I'm just maybe self demeaning. I'm just
No.
being
I
self-demeaning,
think
but
you're just putting it out there before somebody else says it to you. That's what I think you're doing, which is all right. See, take it from me.
Right.
I believe that the body of work that you have done
Yeah.
and you're still going to do,
Yeah.
right, should be protected.
I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
it should be.
I'm lowering up on that. Is I have a new management, and that is part of the things that they're dealing
Yes,
with.
it
you know.
should
Yeah.
it should be protected, not just for today.
Yeah.
Well, you say, look, if we still quote Shakespeare,
Yeah.
it's because it's protected. If
Yes.
it wasn't protected, you wouldn't be.
Yes.
It would just be some random name.
Yeah.
You can even
Yeah.
invent a name for it,
Yeah.
and then people will start. Say, no, that's Shakespeare. I say, Utalunjebe. You understand?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Yeah.
Who is so called?
Yeah.
Now, because of the work you have done, a lot of people believe that your contributions to the spoken word sector of the Nigerian art scene is such that it should not be wished away.
Right.
So you have to lead in that.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I have let down on that, but yes, I'm going to have to, like, you know, pick up and, you know, get serious with that aspect.
yes, because
agree.
for instance, when you referenced the Dele Momodu that you spoke, he used to speak out your story.
You just read it, and
Yeah.
and he always say, "Ah, man, this." I mean, everybody knows it's my story.
Yes.
You know, and the funny part was when he was doing that, I wasn't around. Is one of my colleagues or somebody else that would tell me this is what he did.
Yeah. No,
You know.
because you see, there are some people. Dele is one of those people who would love to read out something.
Yes,
You
he was.
understand?
He loved words.
Yeah.
He loved literature.
Yeah.
You know, he loved good stories.
Yeah.
When you write, he really,
Yeah.
he was a fan of great copy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He still is.
He is a fan.
Yes, you understand.
Yeah.
You see, now that gave birth to something that was in you all along,
Right.
and you didn't know it. which is why you must also give birth to something that others will come back and be able to say, that was what
That's right.
Sage did. And the spoken word as a performing art in Nigeria is just growing.
Yeah.
It's just growing.
Yeah.
If we want to trace it now, we'll trace it to you. Which year did you start?
Which year did I start? Officially?
Yeah.
Which one? Well, people got to see me in 2006. You know, but like I said, I've been doing it in little bits, even from my teenage. But from like...
No, we didn't see you then.
You
so
didn't
don't
see me
worry.
then. So the
You
day
just talk of when people
they started to
seeing-
see me.
Yeah.
But it was on radio, in rhythm, from 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
But it got on a large stage in 2006. That's when, like, boom. You know, but from the early 2000s, there was a gap. Guild of Artists and Poets in Abuja. You know, from 2000, 2001, 99, 2000, around that time.
Yeah.
So that's actually where we were just reciting, you know. So I think let's leave it from the 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now-
But it came to the general public attention of everyone on television 2006.
So then you evolved from being a writer to being a poet, and then to becoming a performing poet.
Right.
And you have written some book or books. You also write for
Yeah.
a living. You write for others.
That's my work. Yeah, I write. I'm a commercial writer, so I write for organizations.
Commercial?
Yes, that means you pay me money to write a book for you.
Okay. Oh, good.
You know, so it's ghost writing. I can say ghost writing, but sometimes it's just commercial writing.
It's better that way.
You know, because the ghost writing is when you want to write a book in your name and you want me to do it for you. So I do that as well.
Yeah.
You know, but I also do books for organizations. You know,
Okay.
I do even coffee table books. I've done one I did one fantastic project for Ikoyi Club some time ago. I've done something for Nigerian First Ladies. I've done quite a few books, you know. So I do books for organizations, for individuals. The last book I did, for instance, is on Olokun art, the Olokun heads.
Oh.
You know, I'm not Yoruba, but I did a book on Olokun heads.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I do, you know, for a living. I also I have a poetry book, but much more, I have poetry albums. I've had 2 poetry albums. I'm working on the 3rd right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, an album, poetry with music and
Yeah.
like that.
And it's performed by you.
Yes. So I'm working on one currently, you know, and then I make film. Yes, I make film. So it's all about storytelling. I make documentary film, and I'm starting to make feature films now. So the first one is, I just made a short film right now. I'm working on the second. So I'm allowing...
So how are you exposing that, the short film?
So I just finished doing one short film, and I'm hoping to either YouTube. I'm going to present it first to Mnet to see if it's something they might want to use.
Okay.
Because they have those fillers.
On Netflix?
Yes. You know, but I'm going to put it on YouTube. And then I want to do maybe a screening. There might be a screening here and there for the short films. They're setting people who do short film screenings.
Okay.
You know, so I want to present it.
We could work with you for that.
I'm looking forward to
We could do that.
Yeah.
We could work with you for
Yeah.
that and push something.
Yeah. So, but I also make documentary film. But that
Okay.
one's usually the same thing as the books, usually commissioned.
Yeah, it's coming.
You know, so I did a documentary film called The Nigerian Dream, and you know, it was shown on like a number of TV stations, one in the UK, one here. You know, and then there have been some festivals where the films were screened.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, let's go into unfamiliar territory now.
Right.
We're familiarly unfamiliar. And that's about the love life of artists.
Right.
It's said that it's very turbulent.
Yes. I think this is what I find out about artists a lot of the time. Someone says that, you know, when you see a man, when you see an artist, an adult artist, is a child in him that survived. So there's a little bit of scatteredness in a lot of artists. Now, I have some senior colleagues who are single. And some of my friends are telling me, looks like you're going to be exactly like these people. They're telling me. There's some that are 70, there's some that are 60, some just turned 60 recently. And they say, looks like you're just like one of these people. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, looks like I'm one of these people. I don't want to be one of these people. I don't want to be one of these people, but it looks like I am one of them.
Already.
Because I mean, they were single in their 40s, single in their 50s, and then now they're 60, 70, and they're still single. And you're looking and you're thinking that, oh man, no, you are going to be different. But time is passing. But I'm making my mind is made up to not be one of those people, to halt this singlehood right now.
Because what I learned or heard, I shouldn't say I learned it. What I heard was that it's very difficult to be with an artist. Females say it of the males, and the males say it of the females. So.
Yes, but I think I'm able to. I'm able to, at this point in time in my life, I'm able to rein in my madness, rein in the difficulty, mature enough to understand my difference, and to, keep it under control, so that a woman being with me will not be as bad as it would have been if I was just a mad artist like normal. Because there's a lot of us artists who are not single.
Did you just hear yourself?
Yes.
You said, I'm quoting you.
Yes.
That if I would have been a mad artist.
That's because
that as normal to be a bad artist.
Yeah, that's
a mad artist.
I'll tell you this. I went for a book festival in Port Harcourt. A lot of us writers were there. This is a book festival, so it was writers. Now, this is 10 years ago. That was my first major one with everybody coming in, and we're just there hanging around, and I just said, wow. So my other friend, who was a writer and a publisher in the UK, he turned to me and said, these people are mad. He said, they say, yes, so I told him, yes, so he said, I used to think I was the mad person, but now I'm seeing mad people. It's insane. The writers are crazy. See, there's this particular one writer amongst us who came. Every day he wore a different color hair. Every day he sprayed his hair. Today is like football. Tomorrow is stripes. He wore one long dress. This is just what writing makes you, because it's creativity. Your brain is constantly trying to bring things that are not there. It actually affects how you live your life.
And that's normal.
That is normally what it means to be a writer. It is insane. So one of the writers that day, and that particular thing, had just won a very big prize. He came all the way to that place wearing one jumper. I don't know what they call it. It's a native thing.
Native thing, yeah.
He had it on all through. And I was thinking, all he had to do was carry a bag with one extra. He came like that. He's not combing his hair. Just everything, he's just talking. And then he's talking philosophy, talking literature, and talking quantum physics with me, because he liked quantum physics as well. But this particular person has a very normal relationship with a wife, married, no problem. But the rest of us, there's a lot of issues, to be honest.
Okay, so then in that wise, would say he was normal.
He is normal.
And you guys were the not so normal.
Even though we thought he was, I thought you're not very normal. You don't bring one shirt. Where's your comb?
Because you already said, he's married, he has children.
So he was quite, that part of him had already been settled.
Yeah.
But this other aspect could have been better. So I think with writers, there's always one thing that, there's always one thing.
So to use your words now, when are you going to settle that aspect?
This one?
Yes. Yeah, so.
Before the middle of next year.
Before the?
Middle of next year.
Okay. Before the middle of next year?
Yes.
Okay. God will preserve us.
Amen.
And I will be there.
Yes, so. Yes, sir.
I will be there.
Yes, sir.
Now, see, if we go a little bit back to the teaching aspect. You started off as a child.
Yeah.
Expressing the desire to impart knowledge.
Yeah.
but you found that you needed to first acquire that knowledge
Yeah.
before you could share it.
Yeah.
Have you stopped acquiring?
No. I'm always thinking. I don't read as much as I did in my 20s. But I'm always meditating, always thinking, always trying to learn new stuff. Always trying to increase with information, And so sometimes nowadays, this is what happens when people want you to come and speak. They give you a subject. Can you come and tell us something about this?
Okay.
So that gives you room to now do some research, do some study, and when I quote someone, I will actually give them credit. I don't quote and tick, so you just study and then you come and try to present, try to, do that stuff. So I also I've written books that I've taught my philosophy. I have one little book called The Quantum Chemistry of Success. It's my perspective of what success is outside of the material. And then I have another book that was really, really liked at one point. It was done a while ago called Dream Maker.
Dream Maker,
yes, it's philosophical. It's fictional, but it's philosophy. So yes, I study and I try to impart.
Okay. All right. Well, as I said, you really cannot impart anything if you don't know anything. Can you build something on nothing? You can't.
Yeah.
We will take a short break now and come back for our final segment of my talk with Sage. Please stay tuned. Yes, Sage is still with me.
Yes, sir.
And we referenced your book, The Dream Maker.
That's right.
And something about success, how to define
Quantum chemistry of success.
Chemistry of success. Now, how would you describe success?
So it's really simple. It's really simple. And it's not the same thing for everyone.
Yes.
Success is just the achievement of a set goal.
Of a set goal.
Of a set goal or a series of set goals. That's what success is.
Yeah.
That's how you succeed. But if you want to say a man is a success, that's a whole different level of it. When I say you're a success, like you now, you're a success.
Thank you.
Yes, you are. So a success is a man who has achieved set goals so well that he's not recognized for it. And he becomes a standard of achievers in that area. That's a success. But success is simple. If I say I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock today and I'm going to do 10 push-ups and I do it, that's success.
I feel that because I know some people who say they want to work out and they don't ever
So they're not
work out.
succeeding in that aspect of their lives.
Yes.
So whatever goals you set, achieving it is success.
No, but as a filmmaker,
Yes, sir.
when you go out to make those films, those short films or your documentary films, when you're commissioned for them, what do you see of Nigeria?
That's what the Nigerian dream was about. I'm not. Nigeria is something else. I see. Let me try not to be negative, but I see a system where it's on its head. It's like when we're acrobats, rather than standing on our feet, we're standing on our head, and we haven't really tumbled over yet. A lot of things have been turned upside down. That's what I see here.
Is there hope?
I honestly don't have too much hope.
That means there's still hope.
I don't know.
You
I'll
say
tell you why.
don't
I'll
have
tell you
too
why.
much hope.
When I was under 10,
Yeah.
I remember when they started taking light.
Yeah.
When I started noticing that, I was not 10. I waited 40 years to see 40 years, and I'm thinking, man, how long am I going to have to wait to see things change? I saw the 80s. I saw how things were. I saw that it looks like it's improving in the 90s or in the 2000s, and then I see them tumble back, and I'm thinking, wow, what is going on? Is there going to be a situation where this country will actually move forward? I do not know.
Because you're a thinker, what do you think could be the solution? Or what would you prescribe?
Somebody asked me this question yesterday. I was on another TV interview yesterday, and I gave them this is my solution for this. We're going to start with Generation Alpha. Luckily, Alpha, it means the beginning. So we're going to have to start with Generation Alpha. that is the children that the millennials and the Gen Zs are giving birth to. We're going to have to start with them.
Oh, they are the ones that you think we should.
That's the only way I see a permanent solution. Start with Alpha. I have two options, but I will start with Alpha. Take all the Alpha. I don't know how many they are. They might be 300,000. Change their education system. Don't put them in the same type of schools we are in. Create a whole different type of education system for them, a whole different type of orientation, and inculcate in them that they're going to have to fix the country. Not give them this mentality where, millennials and Gen X's and Gen Z's that you just find your way. You have to give them the mentality that you all have to fix it. So they start from primary, knowing that we are supposed to fix stuff. Now, they're not going to be on the same side with their parents. Parents have to accept it, that these kids, this is a whole different generation. So I think that to fix Nigeria might take another 40 years. Now, the second way is to have a leader like Lee Kuan Yew, to have someone like that who is that intelligent, that incorrigible, uncorruptible, that hard. There has to be someone really, really hard, because the Lee Kuan Yew said that, when he was leading, people had to be afraid of him. He wasn't there to be loved. But you love him for what he's doing. He was so strict that if you did what was wrong, if judgment was, you just there's no shortcut. No, he's my brother. No, So instead we're going to have that kind of leader, where Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Zers are forced to abide to a rule of law. If you go off, you face the full wrath of the law. And then, as well, Alpha is now being trained differently. To me, that's the only real solution.
That sounds like a book you're writing.
There's a midway point.
Yeah.
As a midway point as well, where we'll be managing ourselves and fixing everything. As we're managing, we're fixing, we're managing, we're fixing. That one too will work. But I honestly don't have that much hope, because I've waited 40 years and I'm not seeing anything yet.
Because what I see is that the rule of law, the respect for simple rules must be enforced.
Yes. They must force us to follow.
We must
but then
force,
Alpha
we must force ourselves. And because see, the children learn from example. They learn from beholding.
Yeah.
They learn from seeing.
Yeah.
You started your story. Yeah. You learned from your dad.
Yeah.
And the first thing you established was that he didn't go to secondary school.
Yeah.
But
he went to university.
But whoever he worked with found that this guy is smart. Yeah. So started teaching him.
Yeah.
And so he went on to write Cambridge. After Cambridge, went to university. He left you to go through the same thing. That's why you can speak about him now and say, this was what he did, and that's where I copied from.
Yeah. But you know what the army does?
Yeah.
What the army does? The army takes a civilian, put you somewhere, break you down, and then build you up anew.
Yeah, sure.
That's what needs to be done with Alpha.
Yeah.
So even if the old, because there's 200 million of us, tougher. Yes, maybe for Nigeria, tougher.
Yeah, tougher, and who can succeed in changing the constitution? Because there are stuff that you will need to do. Yeah. It has to be law-based. It has to be law-backed.
Yeah, true.
If it's not, we're wasting our time.
That's true.
You understand? But at least that's what you feel.
You
take a number of them.
All of them.
All of them. Change their particular orientation,
completely.
Their education, and then watch them grow.
Yeah.
Nurture them.
Right.
But if any one of them goes astray, what happens?
He knows that he knows that
I'm not talking what
full
he knows.
wrath of the law. That's what they are taught.
Yeah.
You're taught, because what Gen Zs were taught is the millennial parent or the Gen X parent is ready to pay a teacher a bribe. These things happen. Parents are paying bribe to put their children, to give their children advantages. They pay bribe to put them in school. The school doesn't like, so you bribe. So the child believes that this is how this thing should be done. you know. But the alpha should, the government should take over. You know, that system doesn't work here. These guys, the first 7, 8 years of their lives, they grow up knowing that things must be done a proper way. I think it helps.
Okay.
And I think maybe when they're 40, 50, we might have a different society totally.
Okay, on a final note, do you still work out? Do you
Oh,
still-
I work out like a beast.
Why?
Well, I'm a beast. My whole life is working out. I work out 3 hours a day. Oh, yes, I'm a beast. I love working out.
3 hours a
Yeah,
day?
yeah.
What's the purpose?
Pleasure. Pleasure.
Because the doctors say you don't need to work out that much.
Yeah, they say. But I don't think the doctors know that well. You know, I love it. So the whole workout is about, it lasts like 2-3 hours, but it's not that I'm working out every minute in that 2-3
okay.
hours. So I take breaks. I'm 51, so I take breaks. I'll do a set, then I'll take a break.
Okay.
You know, I might be doing 100 push-ups. When I'm done with those, I take a break. Then I do something else. You know, so there's breaks in between a routine, but there's
Okay,
longer
so-
breaks. You know, so that's why.
So
it
you have a
spreads.
regimen of different sets
Yes.
and all that, but there are
Yes.
infused
Right. There might be
breaks
like an
in
hour
between.
running, an hour walking, 30 minutes running, the different sides, the different things. You know, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what's your typical day like?
My typical day. Some days I'd never have a typical day, but basically my ideal day is I wake up, I do some meditation, do some praying, you know, and then I go to the field to work out, either to a gym or to the field. When I'm done, I come back, I take a little rest, I eat fruits. I try to eat a lot of fruits, oranges. I try to eat a lot of fruits, and then I should write some script.
Okay.
You know, or write something. The goal is I need to write maybe 100,000, 20,000 words a year. So every day I try to write something. You know, if I have a job, then I work on that job.
Okay.
You know, if not, then I just do my scripting. And evening I might do a little walk again, an hour or an hour and a half or whatever it is. And that is my day. Exercise, healthy food, and writing.
All right. Thank you very much,
Thank you, sir.
Sammy. Sage,
Yes, sir.
it's a pleasure. Thank you
Yes,
for coming.
Thank you for having
Really
me.
enjoyed it. It's been a very lovely time with Sammy Sage Hassan as my guest on Timeless Conversations. I hope you had a very good time. I did, and I look forward to when next you will come, because I'll call you soon.
I look
I want
forward
to
to being
follow
here.
up on that. 2 things to follow up on. Remember, 1, in a few months' time,
Yes.
before the end of next year,
Before the middle of next year.
before the middle of next year, and then 2, that's your film.
Right.
Yes, let's
Right.
work on that.
Yes, let's
So-
work on that. Yes.
So, thank you very much for watching. It's been Timeless Conversations. I'm Lekon Obumbanwo. Bye.